Hey Drew, welcome to the Gig Live. How are you?
I am good, Brianna. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us. For those of you who are watching, this is Andrew Rossow, and he is known as the Internet Attorney. So tell us a little bit about your gig.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I love what you're doing.
Thanks.
So I wear a couple different hats. First and foremost, I'm a practicing attorney. So I am a criminal defense attorney and an internet law attorney. So what does that mean? I, being in Ohio right now, am in the middle of the opioid crisis. Here in Montgomery County, it is one of the leading spots in the country for opioids. Very, very sad, but the
Oh my
majority of
goodness.
my clients I work with is it's about getting them the proper help that they need. And of course, the internet law, the cyber comes into play. And I love technology, very passionate about it. And that's why I try to help my clients minimize the instances of being victimized by the number of crimes that we're seeing every day online.
Wow. So you're kind of like a superhero.
I wouldn't call myself that. Maybe some of the clients do, but no, I love what I do, and I think that's the important thing. Is I love what I do, and I really do like to help those in need.
So how long have you been an attorney?
I am a baby still. I've been doing it for about 3.5 years now, so I'm still a baby.
That's awesome. And I'm sure you're doing just fine at that. You seem very confident, and I feel like I would be scared of you in the courtroom. So
Don't be. Remember, we're all scared of the judge. It's fine.
that's true. Actually, that's true. Even though I will tell you, I had this one time. I got this really weird ticket with my car, and I didn't want to pay for an attorney, which is bad for the attorney. But and I ended up winning. And I represented myself, and I won.
See, there you go.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's my one claim to fame when it comes to law.
That's good. I would have framed that ticket and put it on your fridge or on the wall somewhere. Victory.
Lucky. Yeah. Yeah. Very lucky. Um, so, what is your favorite part about your gig?
You know, it's one thing to watch television and the news, read about these cases, these legal dilemmas, and it's another thing entirely to actually be in the system and actually have a chance to impact the system. It is a very, very large system, but the ability for one person to make a difference, as corny as that sounds, Brianna, it's you do make a difference, and it doesn't go unnoticed because each client and person that you work with or that I work with, they see that they are the recipient of those services. So to those
Right.
people who feel that they are not making a difference, you are. You definitely are.
Very cool. Very cool. So, with every gig, there's always what we like and then what we don't like. So, what is your least favorite part about what you do?
You know, I think you said it about right. There's a part of it that you don't always enjoy. I love the research. I love to read. I love learning about things that maybe I'm not as well versed in. But I think the most frustrating part is trying to communicate realistic expectations to the client. And I think, in defense of the client themselves, I think it's frustrating on their part in communicating their expectations. Often it's very unrealistic. This is what I want. I
Right.
did something I probably shouldn't have, but here's the outcome I want. I don't care what you have to do to get there, but that's what I want. And unfortunately, that's not how it works. So there's a level of being honest with your client, but also determined and letting them know that you are there to help them and to do whatever you can to minimize whatever scenario that they're in, but making sure that they understand what's going on. So I think it it's a sensitive area. It's not something you can teach. I think you have to have people skills. You have to learn how to communicate with one another, and you really do have to enjoy what it is you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to be wondering why you're doing exactly what it is that you're doing.
Oh, that's a very solid piece of advice there. I cannot I definitely don't disagree with you there. But you actually, like you said, you wear a couple hats, and I also want to touch on your Cyberbite activities and how you got started with that, why you got started with that, some of the amazing celebrities that have gotten involved with that. So let's touch on that.
Sure. So Cyberbite is a trademarked anti-cyberbullying movement that I started about 3 years ago. The name itself, Cyberbite, just got trademarked. It's a play on words between cyber and bite, as in computer bite. And I put those two words together to come up with a newsy, trendy way of explaining here's your news flash, but your cyber news flash. And Cyberbite was born. The reason it came about was personal experience. I
Oh,
grew up, at the age, I'm a millennial, I'm 30 years old. I grew up where social media was just hatching. I grew up where phones were becoming much thinner and starting to become smart. The Motorola Razr was groundbreaking when I was in high school. I remember my first Motorola Razr I bought off a kid in gym class. I'm sure that phone was stolen somewhere. Okay, that definitely was not a legitimate deal,
right.
but the technology at the time was advanced, and growing up with this type of technology warranted my generation using it to its full potential, and at times, a lot of times, beyond what it was intended for. And when I was growing up, when I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, I was a smaller kid around. I had some friends, but I was the smallest kid in the group. I did not have a lot of self-confidence. I was afraid to talk to my friends. I was afraid to talk to girls. I was afraid of. Don't tell anybody that.
You're
Whoops.
talking to one. What are you
I
talking?
know. I know. I see. I've come a long way, haven't I? My parents would be proud. Um, you know, I I was afraid of my own shadow, and I don't know why. I think it was just because I didn't feel adequate enough, and that was noticeable. It was very easily noticeable, and my problem stemmed from a combination of not understanding how and when to take a joke and when something was not a joke. So a lot of it was my own doing. I didn't understand a joke versus somebody who's actually being mean. So the way I responded wasn't always the best way. I cowered. I didn't want to address it, and it cost me time. It cost me friends. But on the flip side, there were people that I thought were friends that weren't. They ran with the peer pressure. They did what would keep them in the group and what was popular, whether they actually agreed that way or not. They did what they felt they needed to do, and it was isolating. I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and I felt alone for a while. Was never a harm to myself or to anybody, but I didn't know how to process it. And I promised myself as I grew up, as I grew older, I would never put myself in a position again to feel helpless. And more importantly, I didn't want somebody else to be in that position to feel helpless.
Which is why I'm an attorney.
And that's exactly right. And ironically, I didn't know that I wanted to be an attorney until I think my junior year of college, because where I went to school, at Hofstra University up in Long Island, New York. They required every freshman who was in the business program or in the business school to take a legal contracts course
Oh,
about what a contract is. What does it take to build and form a contract? And I fell in love with it. I absolutely fell in love with it. I wanted to take every legal class out there. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I just knew that I was interested in it. And I think, just to kind of wrap this description up, I I wanted to help others. I wanted to be in a position that said, you know what, I went through a lot of hardship. I felt alone. But as I got through high school, I loved high school. I had my own group, but I still felt kind of insecure. I don't know why. But once I went to college, my first year, I kind of grew into my own. I realized who I was, who I wanted to be. I found a group of people with a strong personality. you survive 4 years in New York on your own, you know, you've done it right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I grew into my own, and the movement came about when I graduated law school and passed the bar exam. I was
Wow.
writing for Forbes and a number of outlets at the time as a hobby, and I happened upon an interview with one of my favorite artists by the name of Gareth Emery. He's a very well-known international DJ or house music uh, DJ, and it just hit me on the call. The topics we were talking about and how he fell in love with music and the meaning behind the songs. I said, you know what? I'm going to try something. I'd love for you to record a video to your community, to your fans about technology. You know, you're the type of person that wants people to kind of step away from it, step away from the computer once in a while. You have to for your own personal health and mindset and peace of mind. What advice do you have for your fans that are glued to their phones or to the computer? I mean, you're on, you know, social media, and he goes, look,
Yeah.
here's what you need to do. I love technology, but you got to know how to step away. And it blossomed from there. So,
That's amazing.
so I
So,
apologize on the length.
oh, you're you're fine. We want to hear your story. That's why we're interviewing you. You're kind of a big deal. So, you know.
Uh,
Yeah, modesty doesn't work here on the gig live. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm, I'm Southern. I'm always polite.
I know, I know. Um, and so who are some, celebrities or high rollers that you've had the pleasure of working with on Cyberbite and maybe in or out of the courtroom?
Sure. So what this movement is, it's a combination of things. Cyberbite is bridging the gap between the Hollywood, Silicon Valley kind of barrier, and then the everyday person like you and I, even if you're a musician or I'm an attorney. For whatever reason, a lot of us, we look up to our favorite musicians, actors, actresses, directors, entrepreneurs, motivational speakers like Gary Vee
Right.
and Cardone. You know, for whatever reason, we look up to them. And a lot of fans online idolize these people and for their own reasons, okay? And unfortunately, there's a lot of individuals out there for unhealthy reasons live, breathe, and die by what these people do. And you know, if this person said go jump off a bridge, they probably would. And I looked at that idea and said, what if we could capitalize off that type of loyalty, off that support, off that love and passion, and turn it into something good for the public good and say, what if we could then take these figures like Gareth Emery or Misha Collins from Supernatural and all these areas and have them speak directly to their fans, because a lot of these people, a lot of these fans, they aren't always acting the best way that they could be or should be. And again, it's a blanket statement, not reflective upon any of these public figures themselves, but you know, it's all about spreading love and kindness. And I think we're all in a time right now, whether politically or socially, economically, that we need to be together. We really need to unite, and it's okay to have differing perspectives on life. That's what makes us human. That's what makes, you know, life interesting. But the ability to reach somebody else open-minded, it's very difficult today. And unfortunately, social media has become the go-to for people, as you know, to express their thoughts or claim to know everything there is to know about something. So um, Gareth Emery was the first person that I had join. The second one was an interview I did with a personal favorite of mine, Misha Collins from Supernatural. I'm sure
Oh,
he knows now, but I am one of his biggest fans. Not a crazy fan, but in terms
sure.
of the crazy behavior. But I have been a very long time fan of Misha Collins and the CW's show Supernatural, and I've been watching it since I was a kid. And the ability where I just happened to send a tweet out, you know, I wasn't verified at the time. I was just another person on Twitter, and I reached out and I said, hey, I'd love to talk with you. You know, Misha runs his own charitable organization known as Random Acts of Kindness, you know, or Random Acts Organization, and it fell in alignment. And he direct messaged me immediately, and I was like, oh my god. And I started to figure out I need to be selective on who I ask, because Misha's perfect, Gareth Emery, perfect. But I wanted to find people that were a perfect model and representation of of what this movement is. And since then, I've had a number of people. This movement has taken off at your Comic Cons, FanX out in Utah, where we've had a lot of the original Power Rangers that you and I, grew up with. Jason David Frank.
I love the Pink Power Ranger. First of all, I was the Pink Power Ranger probably 8 Halloweens in a row.
And you know what? And they're still heroes. They really are, and they stand for a lot of things. Whether it's Kimberly J. Brown, who's the original, or Catherine Sutherland, who's the newer Pink Ranger. But I grew up with these people, and the ability to where I can now call Jason David Frank, who played Tommy, the Green and White Ranger, a close friend. We talk every day. It's because you reach out to them, not as, yes, I'm a fan, I'm not a craze fan, but you did something for me growing up, Jason, Misha, Gareth, Catherine. Let me give back. And this is my way of giving back, of getting to work with these people. And even on a legal standpoint, we had Utah's Attorney General, Sean Reyes, join a few months ago, which was incredible, as our 50th, what I call ambassador or participant. And it's been wonderful.
Oh.
Jamie Lynn Sigler from The Sopranos just joined last week. Ryan Merriman, as you know, from Disney Channel's Luck of the Irish and Smart House joined. So it's a random, and if Ryan's watching this, thank you, Ryan, and to everybody. But
yeah, thank you, Ryan.
But that's just it. It's you're capitalizing on nostalgia, but you're also capitalizing on the good name and goodwill of these people, because they're all family individuals. They have their lives, but they've impacted myself in a lot of ways, because when I was upset, I came home and watched Power Rangers, and when I was depressed, I came home and watched Supernatural. Why? Because what did those shows represent? They represented characters who were stronger than the average person, or maybe were weaker individually but collectively stronger, and looked out for the little guy.
I love that. Well, Drew, how can all of our fans over here at the Gig Life get a hold of you or follow your journey?
Well, if you're looking to send flowers, I'm happy to DM you my P.O. box or address. I won't publicize that. But, and that includes you too, Brianna. Okay, flowers and steaks are nice.
Okay, I'll be on it. Yeah.
That's good. I'm on social media. I really am. I love it. I'm on Facebook at Rossow Law. Ask me, ping me. I hate when people don't answer me in a sense of a good movement, or if there's something I really want to talk about. I'm always here as a resource. I'll always be there to help if I can, or at least direct you to the person that I can. So please contact me.
I don't think you could get any more awesome. So
I owe that to my parents, my friends, and those who've helped me, get to where I am. I'm grateful. And to you, Brianna, thank you for really what it is that you're doing. I know you have a passion for music, and your music's wonderful. You have a great sound, but I think what you're doing here too, on top of that, shows that whether you're a musician or an attorney, you can do anything you set your mind to, and you have the ability to reach out to a community that really cares for you. So
thank you. We really appreciate you, and we hope you have the best night ever. Thanks again for joining us on the Gig Life, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Look forward to it.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.